everybody. Welcome back to another episode of More Than a Title. I'm your host, as usual, Jared, Chief Revenue Officer at Outside the Box Digital, founder and host of More Than a Title. And we're on episode 278, y'all. Episode 278. And before we begin, I got a great episode lined up for you, a great guest lined up today, and I'm excited. But before we begin, I just want to say thank you to y'all. Thank you to the community. Tuesday was such an impactful episode for me. I've gotten texts, emails, all types of stuff. And I just want to say, like, it's overwhelming. And I really appreciate it because it keeps me going. I was just talking to the guests just now behind the scene about like how difficult it is to do this, especially to dedicate 2 days a year, 2 days a week for an entire year, but for 4 years. We've done over 10,000 hours of podcasting. We've interviewed some of the biggest names in the industry, and I've done it from the couch in my apartment in the Bronx. And I say that to say that it's possible. Anything is possible. You keep believing, and I'm hoping I'm inspiring y'all. And it seems like the message is being well received. So it means a lot. And also, I'm just thankful and grateful, like I said, to the community. Also to the people that are in my corner. I had a great call today. I don't want to say, like, you know, he was a former guest on the show. He's a famous singer. And he called me like 10:30 in the morning, and we just end up chopping it up. And I'm just like, I can't believe, like, this is one of my favorite groups of all time. And he's just calling me on a random Thursday to check in on me. Yo, how's life, little bro? How's everything? You know what's going on with the podcast? Oh, really? Okay, cool. And I say that is when you're ascending in your business, and when you get to a certain level, you realize that it's not too many people that you can speak to or speak with that understand what you go through. And so you need like-minded individuals that's been through the journey, that can understand it, that's been through business. And I'm so grateful for my tribe. So the fact that I can do that, have these conversations, also taught in the school today. We went to Taft High School, y'all, in the Bronx high school. We went there. We talked to about 15 high school kids that signed up for the Boss Up program. These kids are creating their vision plans, their vision boards. They're getting their business plans together. They're working towards their LLC, working on business financing. And you just see these kids light up. And so to be able to do that, have these conversations all in one day, and then give y'all a dope episode on top of that, I'm honored. So with that being said, I love you guys, and let's get to it. Let's have a great episode. You know that? You know what I mean? So
let's start the show.
First of all, I am honored to have this queen here. I'm honored. So before I give her the proper introduction she deserves, I do want to shout out one young lady, Nicola, that I used to work with. Nicola, she was my old boss at Cannes Lines. I know you guys heard the story. If you haven't heard the story, I worked there about 12 years ago. Didn't know much about the advertising space or industry. And she would speak so highly of this young lady right here. I would see her come in the office. She was chief of staff in one of the biggest agencies in the world. And just the way you carried yourself, the way you spoke to people, the way you wasn't up, you were just with the people. And that's something I've always remembered and always stuck with me. And so to have you here in our first time on the show and our first real conversation, like, I'm really honored, and I appreciate you coming here. And let's give her the introduction she deserves, y'all. For the first time listeners, what's up? This is More Than a Title. What we do here is we give it to you real. We want to talk about how'd you get to, where you are today? How did you become, what obstacles you had to face to become the person you are? And we do it in a real unscripted, real fashion. And today's no different, y'all. So today I'm sitting with a 4-time founder, former global corporate executive, someone who's built a career around helping people, teams, and businesses really figure out and grow the right way. She's done it all from operating at a high level inside major organizations to build her own ventures, and now leading with purpose through her latest work, which is the Living Constellation. She's big on the idea that future of work is about life, and that we're always better when we build together. So if you're out there, you're navigating change, you're trying to figure out your next move, or really looking to build something that matters, she's got the game, y'all. So you've seen her in the boardrooms. You've seen her on the podcast. You've seen her run some of your favorite businesses. And now she's here on your favorite podcast for the very first time. Let's introduce my sis, Nicole V, Cramer, y'all. Let's give her the horns. Let's give it to her. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
On the check-in. You get 3. How are you, Queen? Appreciate you.
Oh my goodness. How do I even follow my own intro? What am I going to do now? We just call it a show.
You're going to give them the game. You're going to give them the game.
Well, first of all, shout out to Nicola. Definitely shout out to Cannes Lions, old school crew and the new crew, because some of the old are still there and still new. And thank you for this invitation. It's an honor to be here all these years later after we first met randomly. And thank you for seeing me then. Thank you for seeing me now. And congratulations to you. I mean, 4 years, twice a week, doing the thing, no matter what's happening in the outside world. From the Bronx. Shout out to the Bronx. I'm from Manhattan, but it's just a little way away there, right?
We right there.
Congratulations for keeping this going and keeping this relevant and living, making the future of your work your life. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But thank you for having me.
Likewise, it's a pleasure. So, you know what I want to do before the end of this conversation, what I want people to know is really get a better understanding of who you are as a person, what you've done, what you've accomplished. And we celebrate that. It's Women's History Month, but let's take it from the beginning. I would love to know about growing up and some early influences. It's like, tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, we're going to go way back. All right. I'm ready. I'm stretching. All right. I'm ready. So New York City, born and raised, Midtown Manhattan. Don't let anybody tell you that nobody's from Midtown Manhattan, because now you know at least one person born and raised in Murray Hill. Yes. So, earliest influence, I'm going to go straight up. Everybody saw this coming. My mother, Mama Cramer, because she was a single mom. I'm an only child. I am, let's get real from the beginning. I am the product of a domestic violence situation where my mother literally gave me life and then saved my life. So I don't know what you do to follow that other than to honor the woman who made all that happen. So that's real right there. So that's why my last name is Cramer, because that's, she's the German, Irish, Scottish side of the family, and I honor her every day by keeping her last name and by still listening to her advice.
As you should. What's one of the best pieces of advice that you got from Mama Love? What's one thing that she says that she said, and I know she probably had thousands, but what's one thing that you implement in your day-to-day life now?
Well, I would say very early on, she was very adamant about what she knew about the challenges I would face and what she didn't know. So she always told me, because, she's a white woman raising a little me, right? Afro to barrettes, this big, wow. And she said, I know what challenges you're going to face as a woman, but I have no idea what challenges you're going to face as a woman of color. So I can tell you, you're going to have to at least work and be and show up twice as hard, with twice as much, twice as smart, all the things. And I can only imagine that with the factor of being a woman of color, you're going to have to multiply that exponentially. So I can get you so far, and then the rest of the way, I just got to shove you out, and I got to trust God that he's got you the rest of the way, because there's just some things that I don't know, right? Because I haven't experienced them. So that was from a very young age going, oh, crap. What is coming next, right? Yeah. But she also showed me how to be independent. And I say not taught me, but showed me, right? Because she modeled all the things that I didn't realize I wanted to grow up to be necessarily, but because she was an entrepreneur, because she owned her own business, because she was out there hustling. And it wasn't because, being an entrepreneur was fun or the thing to do. It's because somebody had to feed the kid and keep the roof over our heads and things like that. So she just did what needed to be done. But it influenced me so at the heart of myself that when I was in kindergarten and other kids were playing house, I was playing veterinary office. And the dolls were dogs, and I was treating them and saving their lives and whatever. When I was 9 years old and writing about what I would do when I was 25, I was writing about graduating from Cornell Vet School and not just being a vet, but opening a Cramer care clinic in each of the 50 states, because I was that person with a little operations manager living in my soul, even as a 9-year-old.
At 9 years old, you're like, I'm going to Cornell. This is what I'm doing.
Yes, I had the full trajectory.
Wow. You know what I'm saying? Wow, because first of all, not a lot of, especially from our communities, are even thinking like that, right? We know we want to do, one day you want to be a cop, one day you want to be a fireman, next day you want to be this, you want to be a basketball player, whatever it is you want to be, right? But you were so set on it because you had the example of Mama Love. This is what she's doing. This is what I got to do because this is how we have to survive. And it was a whole nother perspective.
100%. I didn't just want to survive. I wanted to grow up to be like her, but I didn't want to grow up to be in the mess that we were in, right? and I wanted to grow up to take care of her. And guess what? Now she lives in my house, and I'm blessed. She's upstairs with a mandate to be while I'm recording this, but she said, "Can I watch you live?" I said, "Not if I'm gonna have to help you log in." And she said, "All right, I'll watch it later."
Shout out to Mama Love. Shout out to Mama Love. So now let's talk about, you're 9 years old. You're thinking about this. How is life progressing? Because you went from that wanting to do this, but you also went this way and went into the advertising and agency world. Like, what was high school like? How did that dream change?
Yeah, so I'll give you quick snippets, because otherwise we're gonna be here all night. But I went from I'm going to be a vet and that's it, like that's the only thing, all the way through high school. That was my dream, to the point that I only applied to one school. Guess which one? Cornell. Yes. Early decision. And my high school counselor said, "Oh my gosh, you have good grades and like this could work out, but what if it doesn't?" And she called my mother and she said, "Do you know that your daughter's only applying to one school?" "Yes." And my mother was like, "Don't worry about it. This is her dream. If it doesn't work out, she will figure it out. But guess what? I'm pretty sure it's going to work out." And thank God, because I did get an early decision to Cornell. I was pre-vet animal science. And then, as you can do, you can change your mind. You can change your trajectory. You can change your life. You don't have to, just because this has been my whole dream, I'm just gonna sign up to ride that train until there aren't any more rails.
You gotta get off at some stop. You might get off at the next stop.
Yeah, or just turn the train a different direction, right? Get up in the conductor's seat, because it's your life, and say, "You know what? I changed my mind and I'm allowed." So for what I think is a very good reason, but I said, I'm not going to be a vet. I'm going to go do something else. But first, I got to get out of school. Like, I got to start working. I got to finish this degree, and I got to get out there. And I'm not good at, not making money to fund what needs to, what I need to do. And I'm not good at not being independent, in case it wasn't clear from the first however many minutes, 12 minutes of this of this session together.
I love it.
So I ended up with a communications degree rather than an animal science degree, or I didn't go to vet school. I ended up accidentally wandering into finance. And no, I didn't go work in a hedge fund or investment bank or whatever. I joined a small boutique firm that was doing investor relations and public relations for biotech and pharma companies, because I was still a science nerd, but I wanted to explore other things, but still, stay in the genre that I understood at that time. And that was my first experience with a boss, a female CEO, who actually ended up telling me, "I think you might have outgrown the company." And I said, "Are you firing me?" And she said, Lisa Burns, rest her soul. She said, "There's only two tracks for you here. You can either be this, executive one day, or you can be this executive one day. And if you don't want to be either of those things," and I said, "Honestly, I don't see." And she said, "I want to help you figure out what your next step is." And I thought,
amazing. That's how, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't happen often.
It doesn't happen often. And at first I was disappointed, and then I thought, did I fail somehow? And then I thought, wait a second, she's giving me an opportunity. She's saying, "I see you and I support you, and I support you so much that I'm willing to say it's not here. I don't have a big enough operation. I don't have your dream job. You don't want to be me or either of these two people. So what do you want to do? And I'll help you get there." And the way she helped me get there was shoving me out the door. Literally, like, "Let's make a plan. In 2 years, goodbye. You go and, ride the rest of the train to your, we're going to have to ride this analogy for the rest of the show now.
Yeah.
To the train, right? So
and for context, how long was you at the agency before she said that? How long were you there? Were you like a couple of years?
No. This was, I was only there for a little over 2 years, I think. So no, this was fast. She was like, I see where you could go. And if you tell me it's here, then it's here. But if it's not, then let's figure out what's next. And she pushed me out the door at, I think, exactly the right moment. And I mentioned this story because of her guidance in a very unusual way, right? But also because that pushed me into advertising. And it was not that I said, well, then I'm going to go work in advertising and I'm going to spend the majority of my career working at big agencies. No, I kind of wandered out into the world, and I found this role that was a combination of operations and finance and program management, and like a lot of things that I, thought I might be good at. And there was travel involved, and there was learning and training and things involved. And I wandered into an ad agency, not thinking, oh, I'm in advertising now. And that opened a door that I wasn't expecting. And all those years later, I looked back and I thought, oh, I have in advertising. So here we are.
Here we are. That's such
that
a
was
dope.
TV back in the day. So.
You know what's funny? And I didn't even cut you off or anything like that. Oh. It's so funny. Me and you have a similar story. I got fired from a job. The CEO told me the same exact thing, but it was similar. Only thing was I failed the test. So I was going into mortgage loan origination right after the bubble. This is 2008. So right after the bubble, everybody making money, hand over fist, and I get in there. They want to put the locks on. As soon as I get in the door. So long story short, you had to pass the SAFE Act test. You had to pass it, then you're good for like a year, and then you have to retake it, whatever. You get 3 times to take it, and if you fail it 3 times, you have to wait an entire year. So I was working at a place. I already started, I was doing setting appointments. I was like an SDR, doing this, setting up. I got a whole team that loves me. My boss loves me. Everything is great. I take the test the first time, fail about 2 points. Take it the second time, fail about 2 points. And this book likes the yellow pages. I promise you, I was in the room studying. They were like, Jared, no more calls. Go in there, study. Did it. The third time, I knew I was going to pass it. I'm just like, yeah, this is it, y'all. I studied till I can't study no more. I'm going to get it. All I need is 2 points. I'm going to crush it. The team takes me there. I go to the test. You get the results like a half an hour later. So we're in the parking lot, literally, of the test center. And they hit me with the 2 points 3 times by 2 points. I sat in the damn parking lot and cried. Other grown men are crying with me because they like, what? Damn, we're going to lose our bro. So long story short, I'm going to the back to the office. The CEO at the time, Jay Levy, he puts me in and he's like, Jared, look, I could give you minimum wage to come out here to do SDR and stuff like that, but you know what? You're too good for this. You're too good for this role. And I feel like for some reasons, you're built for something other than this. He sent me in a cab from Melville, Long Island, 2.5 hours, like an hour and a half ride out with traffic. And I'm sitting there in the car just crying. Oh, God. I'm sitting there looking like the Jordan me. I'm over here looking like this. What am I going to do? I can't go back to the restaurant. And then got into advertising and sales. So it's so crazy. Like, you never know. Like, Jay-Z said it the other day. He was like, it doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. But you don't see it in that moment, right? So that's like a dope story that she did that because she could have kept you on that same train to the very last stop and your life would look completely different.
She could have, yes. And sometimes somebody's opening a door and dragging you through it. And sometimes they're opening a door and pushing you out into your next adventure, right? So she pushed me out of finance and into advertising, and she didn't know it. Yeah.
I mean, so now you're in advertising. You just went to an agency. You got the role. Like, what does the starting role look like? Is it like, because you went over to C-suite. Where did you start at?
The starting role was project and operations coordination, which turned into management for the internal university at DDB when they had an internal university. Yeah. And I spent a couple years doing that. It was amazing. I was working with all the leaders, building programs for teams and travel. I mean, that's when I first really started traveling internationally. And then after that, I transitioned to, at that time, it was called JWT. It's been J. Walter Thompson, JWT, yeah. Thompson, and Wonderman Thompson, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree.
Yeah. A lot of changes, a lot of acquisitions.
A lot of acquisitions, a lot of changes, a lot of rebrands on top of rebrands. But yes, I joined there as the assistant to the, assistant and then soon after chief of staff to the then chief creative officer for the New York office, who became the co-president and chief creative officer for North America. And as he, was on his trajectory, I was on my trajectory. And ended up in a global role there. And then from there, that led me to McCann. And it was, the whole story is about a combination of being seen, being heard, being invested in, and mostly having my name said in rooms where I was not. And a lot of a lot of people think that, oh, you must have had a bunch of women driving this. I can tell you that it was mostly men. It was mostly white men. It was, because that's who your boss usually is when you get to a certain level, right? The odds are in favor of you having a man in the C-suite. And if I'm working for the C-suite, that's my boss. And I had the amazing good fortune of having people saying my name in those rooms. And I'm not going to sell myself short. I'm a bit of a Swiss Army knife. I'm a very hard worker. I am a solutions driven person. I get shit done. And that has been my unofficial title in many a role. But hard work is not the only part of the equation. My lights just went out.
No, because you're talking that talk. Wait.
My light just went kaput. There we go. Okay. I was joking earlier that you can't have a black woman in the dark because you're just going to see me smile and then everything's out. And then my light was like, let's see if that's the case.
I I do want to ask you. I'm gonna ask you something real too, because I have also a lot of successful black women that have climbed the corporate ladder, right? And as they're climbing the corporate ladder, like how we're viewed, how we're judged, all this stuff matters, right? Like, so at the end of the day, like, you could be the greatest worker, you could be the hardest worker, you could stay late, you can be the first person there. And sometimes all of those things don't even matter depending on who leadership is and what kind of role you're in. So what advice would you give to other black women or just women in general that like, I'm trying to climb the C-suite. How do I make sure I'm seen, I'm heard without kind of overstepping?
You have to be your own advocate. Being seen there early and there late is not enough. It's not, because a lot of times we are seen as, oh, that's the person that's always here. That's the person that's getting shit done. And we are not elevated, because if we move up, who is the person that's going to get all that stuff done? Who's the person that's going to be there early and be there late, right? So it's like, let's keep her in that role, because nobody else can fill it. A lot of times she's doing the job of 2 or 3 people. And if she's not going to say something, I'm not going to say something. Let's just...
And baby on that one, you're going crazy.
So if you weren't there just going, I'm just going to keep my head down, and I can tell you, because that was me, right? Yep. And to a certain extent, I still have to remind myself all these years later, I'm not 25 or 35 or even 45 anymore, right? All these years later, I have to go, hold on. I have to look up. I have to accept a podcast invitation. I have to write the thing and put my name on it. I have to say presented by Nicole V. Cramer, not just I have to stop saying this was a group effort. Recognize your team, recognize your people, but also recognize when you were the leader, when it was your idea, when you were the founder and not the co-founder. Nobody's going to advocate for you if you do not advocate for yourself. And when somebody opens the door, you have to still walk through it. I tell my mentees all the time when they're like, oh, thank you for opening that door for me. I say, thank you for not just standing there and staring at the open door. Thank you for actually taking the step through, for actually coming to the event, for actually responding to the email where I invited you to, connect with someone, for actually representing yourself in the way that I know that you can. And that's why I wanted you to have this opportunity. But we have to advocate for ourselves. We have to say, you know what? I'm the best person for that job. And here are the receipts. Not just I'm the best person and I'm not prepared to say why. Or I'm the best person and nobody heard me say it. Right? Or get mad because I didn't say anything and they didn't recognize me. They didn't see me there. Well, where were you standing? And then we're going to blame all these things. Well, where were you standing? How loud were you? Were you in the front? Were you raising your hand? Were you saying, I can do that? And by the way, I'm not just going to do that for free because I've been doing all of these things. I'm going to come to you with the receipts and with the data and with the role that I want, the title, the whole thing, and say, I'm doing this job for not the money and not the recognition. Now, I would like to do this job for the things that are proper for me. And also be prepared for them to say no, and you have to make a decision about what you do next.
That's it. That's the hard part, right? Standing on business when that particular time, because you could have the receipts, you could have the analytics, you could have all your data, you can have a team that loves you, they're championing you and things like that. And sometimes, for whatever reason, it just doesn't happen. In particular, for Black women, when you are an advocate for yourself, sometimes you become the angry Black woman. And that's the perception. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, oh, well, oh, damn, well, this person didn't say that, and she's getting stuff done too, but she's kind of combative. She's kind of hard to work with now. So that's what I'm trying to figure out, like, how do you bat? Like, there's too much to think about and still get the job done. It's a lot to deal with. Like,
there's a lot to think about. And I still have to think about, and I thought about it even today, right? So I thought about, years ago, I started to let my personality creep into my wardrobe a bit more when I was in those situations where I knew people weren't fully prepared to see me, right? So they were okay with seeing me to a certain extent because, real talk, light skin, good hair, right? I was able to balance I'm going to put a conservative suit, but a graphic tee. Then I'm going to put a graphic tee and some cowboy boots. Then I'm going to put a graphic tee and some cowboy boots and some hoop earrings. And then I'm not going to straighten my hair. And then I'm going to just scrunch it before I go in. So it's not demure, but it's step by step by step, right? Because as I prove myself, then I can show my ethnicity a little bit more. I can be a little bit more out there. And they'll still think I'm professional because, I've shown them what I can do. I just haven't shown them who I am fully. Right. And that's no longer okay with me. But I had to play the game too. And we still have to. We're still talking about, is that hair professional? We're still talking about I'm like, what year is it?
In 2026, we're talking about this, y'all.
Exactly. What is happening? Why? But we're not gonna change that part of everything today, right?
But that's the thing, it should be. That's why I created this, right? Like, that's why the more than a title thing. Like, why can't you be the C-level sweet person? Because, like, when I was coming up, like I said, I didn't have a mentor. First of all, I didn't have anybody that looked like me that I could feel like I could relate to. Remember I told you I made the joke? I was like, I felt like I had to get married in. Like, real talk. That's how it felt. Like, and if I don't know anybody in that realm of that ilk, then how do I break in? And I can't be this, but I'm my best when I'm this. I work better when I'm this. I talk better like this. My jokes are better by the water cooler. Everything, you know what I'm trying to say? Everything is better.
Yes.
And that's my biggest problem with corporate America. That's why I became an entrepreneur. Because it doesn't, and even in sales, because I thought sales was black and white. You hit your number, you don't. And it's so many different intangibles, so many different things that you don't see that's on the scorecard that's being scored. And you're like, damn. Customers can love you, all that stuff. And it's just sometimes.
Yes, you know what? If it's just like you said in the intro about, when you first saw me in the office all those years ago. For me, it's about what am I doing to give the world my ancestors' dream, right? And then what am I doing to set, and I don't have kids, so to set everybody else's kids who might look like me up for success. And I don't think that's any longer about I need to 100% change the corporate world. I need a young brown girl to see me and go, hey, it's like when Black Barbie came out and all these girls were like, oh my gosh, like finally a Barbie that looks like me, right? And people called me Black Barbie when I was a little girl. And I was like, I'm fine with that because there's a doll that has a darker complexion than me. And like, I can go buy her and I can, and I cannot aspire to be something that I'm not, even though I'm half white. I mean, let's also not aspire to be not aspire to be something that we are, but I don't have to be aspiring to be something that I'm not. And it's important when an assistant many, many years ago came in my office and said, if you need anything, you ask me. And she wasn't my assistant. She was I was like, why? I'm going to have somebody working with me. She said, I know you're going to have an assistant, but in the meantime, you need something, you come to me. I said, why are you so adamant about this? She said, because you have an office with a window and you look like me. And I'm here to make sure that you succeed. And if that means you need a desk light, you need lunch, you need a whatever, you ask me. And I mean, this was years ago now. I was so touched by that.
Messy!
I have a responsibility to this woman. I have
That
a
was real.
responsibility to live up to what she looks in my office and believes that she sees every day. I have a responsibility to her. I have a responsibility to my friend's daughter, who earlier this week said, when can we hang out? And when can my daughter and I come and we spend some time together? Because it's important for me to have her around women that I respect. And I was like, come now. Like, I'm so honored.
I'm available right now.
I'm available right this moment. Come now. Like, I was so honored by that.
About that.
So that's my responsibility. If you want to be an entrepreneur, I hope that you will look at me and go, there's something I can learn there. There's something that she experienced. My mother always said to me, another Mama Cramer-ism for a moment. She said to me, make all the mistakes you want. Make all the mistakes you need to learn, but don't make the same dang mistakes that I made. Because otherwise, why'd I make them? Make different ones. Learn from those and make different ones. And then I hear they say as you age, you become your whatever, you become your mother. And I'm like, I told my assistant, like, don't make the same mistakes, or don't make the same mistakes over and over again. Make them, learn from them, make them again, like whatever. The third time, don't make that mistake. Make a new one. Make all the new ones that you want. Yeah. But why did we have all these people come before us if we're just repeating the same thing? If you want to be an entrepreneur, send me an email. I'll tell you all the things I did wrong. So do something different wrong.
That's so real. So it's a two-part. I got to ask you both of these things, right? How did you deal with the pressure? Like, so the assistant comes in, she says, like, like obviously you stand for, I got to make sure you win. How did you balance the pressure and still like stay yourself? Like, what are you doing to balance? That's a lot. Because even if you fail, you're like, I let people down. So how do you deal with that?
One thing I use is humor to balance the pressure. And also to kind of force myself to continue to be me in every circumstance. And by extension, force people to realize that if you want all the things that you look up to, you got to take all the things that come with it. And I will point out what is not perfect about Nicole. I will point out what is a work in progress, but I will also point out what I've figured out along the way.
Message.
I ain't mad at
I don't know if I'm near my quota or not. I've lost count, but
you're about 5'6". You're on a good trajectory. I ain't gonna lie to you. You're on a great trajectory. And now that we're here, I gotta ask you, what is the biggest obstacle you faced? What was the toughest moment where you just have like I'm tired of this. I'm done. Like I'm ready to give up, but you didn't.
So I will legit tell you, and this is probably not what anybody's expecting to hear, but I would say the biggest obstacle I faced was myself.
Yeah. Me versus me.
The biggest obstacle I faced was myself. It was what I told myself in those quiet moments. It was what I heard other people say, regardless of what they were actually saying. It's what I told myself they would say or think of me before they even had a chance to make up their minds. It's all the things I didn't do because I was scared. It's all the things I did do because I was scared. My biggest obstacle was me.
I love that answer. But most people don't understand that when you're along the journey. It's you versus you. It's the story you tell yourself. How do you keep going? I have a line that you have to choose to be him or her. You have to choose it. And there's going to be a lot of stuff along the way that try to get you off that path. Like you said, what if somebody's not, I've got friends that are not on the live. I got this not happening. I got shirts. You're not sharing it. But you're on this one's post. Like none of that stuff matters. It's the story you tell yourself. It's you against you. Are you going to wake up at the same time? Are you going to be consistent? Are you going to be disciplined? And if you fail, okay. You tried your hardest, and that's the realest thing. So I respect the heck out of that. But do you also have a suicide? Like what is maybe one of the toughest ones in maybe in corporate America outside yourself? You're like, well, damn, I'm really qualified, or damn. Matter of fact, what's the mama I made? Let's go positive. What's the mama I made it moment for you? Because we brought a Mama Cramer. What's the one moment that you felt like I succeeded? I did something I accomplished. I'm on a mountaintop, and Mama is looking at you like she did it.
So one moment. There've been a few, but one moment.
Let's do it.
Maybe I'll give you one from corporate and one from my founder journey. So when I left JWT, it was in a chaotic moment. We'll just put it that way. A lot was going on, and I ended up on the outside, which was all a blessing. But in that moment, you can't always see the blessing, right? All you can see is I got a mortgage to pay, and what the hell am I going to do next?
Absolutely.
So I was out of work. I was doing all the things that you do, especially the workaholic overachiever, completely defined by their job for so many years. And I was losing it. And it wasn't that long. When I look back on it, I'm like, it was a hot minute that I was out of work, but it felt like my entire life was over. I was a huge failure. I remember calling my mother, walking home from the office. She was at my house in Pennsylvania. I was in Manhattan. And I was like, Mom, I no longer work at the agency and I'm a failure and I don't know what I'm going to do. And she said, pack a bag, get in the car and come home. I said, all right. Cried the whole way home. And she said, that outside is not anything to do with you and that you are not a failure. You're going to feel what you got to feel. You're going to do what you got to do. And then you're going to pick yourself up and you're going to find out what's next. That was June, the beginning of June. By August 9th, I was starting at McCann as the SVP Global Chief of Staff, working right alongside the global chairman and CEO. Shout out to Nick Bryan, who saw me, who sponsored me, who gave me the job, who didn't negotiate, who met me on the recommendation of, shout out to Denny Lennon at the Creative Register, a long-time mentor and sponsor and friend. And on her recommendation, Nick called me, invited me in. One conversation said, can you start on Monday? I said, what? I said, no, I don't even, like, what is the offer? What is the job? I need a piece of paper? Like, shit. Get the piece of paper is what you should take from it. Don't just say yes. Get like a piece of paper with a number on it.
That's one conversation.
One conversation. I mean, it was a long conversation. There was a lot.
No, of course, I mean, at least at 3 hours.
And when I said I need a piece of paper and no, I can't start on Monday, he said go down the hall to the chief talent officer and he will get you the piece of paper. I said, all right. I'm not going to argue too much because he just said, you want to join me? You want to help me build this thing? And I was like, with the paper, yes, I will do that. And August 9th, I was starting that job. And between the offer and the paper and the starting, I lost my damn mind. I questioned everything I ever thought I knew about myself. I questioned every thought in my head, every smart thing I had ever done, every role. I'm not ready for this. They made a mistake, like the whole thing.
Oh, you was going through imposter syndrome damn near.
I was the poster child. There was a I was the definition and the poster child rolled into one. It was the Nicole syndrome, and I was living it. And my mother was like, what in the world are you doing? You went from self-assured to I can't do anything right. I can't even tie my shoes. What? And I said, they just made me an SVP in one of the most storied agencies on the world. Are they crazy? And she's like, no, but are you? What is going on with you?
There it goes.
You know what, Nicole? If they believe you can do it, and I believe you can do it, and somewhere deep down inside you know you can do it, then what are you talking about? You're going to go in there the first day. You're going to do what you do. You're going to get out of your own way, and you're going to do the job. And that's exactly what I did. So I found out in the first week, you know what? I do know what I'm doing. I do know how to do this. If I would have listened to myself, I would have gone and dug myself in a hole, and I would have still been there. And if I didn't...
I'm a savage!
You're a savage. You did it. Well, here we go. Wait, now I'm like, why did they mute you? That's weird. It's just, that is so weird. I pressed the Diddy one and
I said something so brilliant in that moment that it will never be aired now. I
The man.
Damn it. Damn it. And I got the shit and I listened. All right. Well, all right.
No, I'm messing with you. I'm messing.
I know I'm joking with you.
But what I was going to say was, if I would not have taken that opportunity and made the most of it, that opened so many doors for me. That opened relationships for me. That introduced me to people that are now on my founding team of my new venture. That was like one of the, I mean, there were many door opening moments in my career, but that was a different level for me. It took me to new countries that were out of passport, and it also, again, opened the door to push me out, not only to pull me in, because it was from McCann that I went back into consulting, that I opened my bakery. Yes, one of my ventures was a baking company. And it started me on a whole new mindset of what work meant in my life. And now what I hope will be what work means as a part of our life and not as an all-consuming entity.
Yeah, see, shout out to Mama Dukes and Mama Love, man. I also got another comment on Insta. I had a few comments. Sorry, Instagram. I keep telling y'all, I can't see the comment. you gotta YouTube, Instagram. I love y'all. Somebody said that, first of all, he said that you, everything you're saying, you drop a gem. He said that you look familiar, like Layla Ali. Now I can't unsee it.
I get Layla and I get Tatiana. I'm an Ali somehow. Yeah.
Right, Layla Ali. Like I can't. Like I'm like, what?
I've been in the airport and gotten special treatment years ago because they were like, "It's Layla Ali," and I was like, "I'm just gonna go with it, unless you don't tell me to punch anybody, but I'm just gonna go with it." Yeah, I get a lot of. Oh, shout out to Liz and Gandhi. She actually knows my mama.
Shout out to Mama Love. Shout out to Liz. Shout out to everybody on the check-in. Right. It's also, I'm going to tell you after, but I do want to introduce you to a young lady who's been on the show. She reminds me of you, and she's in an agency right now. I got to make that introduction. You're gonna love her. But I do want to know, like you said, you was pushed out. You had the entrepreneur itch, like you just had, like, what was that moment? Because I feel like everybody has a moment where you're just like, I'm tired of this. I can't do it no more.
And it was a combination. It was a combination platter. So I've been through a lot of reorgs, a lot of restructures, a lot of rebrands, a lot of re-dash all the things. And, I love to build. I love a re-dash all the things in general terms. But sometimes you get to the point where you're like, am I going to do this again? Like in the same place? And everybody's excited. I'm going, but we did this before. I'm not excited about it now. It's not new. It's not an opportunity. It's now a slog. And I just want to like. So I got to the point where I was like, I feel like I need to take at least a break from this. I need to take a break from the rebrand, the new name, the whatever is coming. And I decided to step out of advertising, not close the door, but just like go down the hall somewhere.
Yeah.
So back in 2016, I said goodbye to McCann World Group. I opened a bakery. I had a baking company from 2013. We were baking cookies. It was called My Grandma Baked a Cookie. I was doing events and online and all the things. And then I decided to open a brick and mortar, which if you ever had a food business, I was insane for a moment. I'm recovered now.
Where was the store? Where did you open the store? In
the Poconos in Pennsylvania, and then I had a second location.
Fernwood. I used to be out there, Fernwood and Treetop. I used to be out there. I had a timeshare. Mama Love and Grandma had the timeshare.
So yeah, it was for my grandmother, who's on the German, Irish, and Scottish side of the family. So she's Pennsylvania Dutch or Mennonite, and so I was like, I can't open a Pennsylvania Dutch bakery in Brooklyn, which is what my friends were like, please open in New York. I'm like, maybe someday, but I feel like I'm very much about being on brand. So it's like, I feel like the first one has to be with my grandmother's people or adjacent. She wasn't from the Poconos, but yeah, I opened that and I was consulting, and then I went in-house at a client, and I was all over the place. And then it was, we made it through the pandemic, survived owning a food business during the pandemic. That can be a whole other episode because it's too much to cover. That was the hardest 18 months of my life. And you can imagine what me saying those words means in terms of how hard it was. I was working 20 hours a day, 7 days a week. I took 1.5 days off in 10 months time.
Wow.
I did not get COVID once. We did not shut down. We actually got kudos from the health inspector to the point that she said we could eat off your floor. This is how clean you are keeping things. None of my team got sick. We shipped nationwide. We fed our community. We did our food bank run every week and, delivered our donations for the week. We ran like, come to our bench and pick up what we have left over when we close for the day, like pick up a bag if you need it. It was one of my most proud years, but I never want to live that again.
Pies were fire. What was on the menu? Now I want a pie. What you had out there? Come on, you survived during the pandemic. That shit had to be good.
I mean, grandma knew how to bake and she taught me everything she knew. And we made everything by hand from scratch, just like she made it, which is not a profitable way to run a business, but I think it's the right way to run a business for us. So
no. And you were still doing the consulting. You still had relationships.
Yeah, because owning a bakery doesn't pay the bills. If you came from corporate and you have a small bake shop in the Poconos, that's not paying the bills that you need to get paid. So I was always multitasking. I had my side hustle, had a side hustle, and sometimes still does. But yeah.
Where do you get the energy? Because I'm sitting there tired for you right now. I think I'm tired. Like, you feel me? Like, you had the cookie shop, you're making them by hand, you're consulting. You said 1.5 days off in 10 months. Like, that's not healthy.
I'm a very focused, very motivated person, and I got a lot of stuff to achieve in this lifetime and no time to waste.
It's one thing to say it though. It sounds good in hindsight. In that moment, what made you like? How do you stay that focused? I'm focused.
So in that moment, and it's back to not wanting to honor and wanting to make sure that I was living up to. So I opened the bakery for my grandmother. I opened the baking company for my grandmother the year after she passed. She passed in 2012. I opened it in 2013 because I realized the hole that her passing was leaving in her community. So it wasn't just about the baked goods. It was about the conversations and the family and the community time that came with enjoying the baked goods together.
The impact.
So I wanted to, I took it upon myself to fill that hole, but expand it to a larger community. And every day people say, what would Jesus do? I said, what would grandma do? How would she do this? How would she care for her community? And that's what got me through the pandemic. Every day I was like, how would grandma keep her kitchen? How would she treat the community? Who would she feed? Like, what would she give for free? What would she discount? What would she make? What would she say? Like, what words of encouragement? And every day I was like, all right, grandma. And honestly, I'm stubborn as hell. So I was like, I am too stubborn to quit. People, it would be easier if, and I'm like, I didn't sign up for easy. I signed up to ride this train until the end. We're back. Right?
She's good.
Easy. And grandma wasn't like, well, I'm not feeding my family today because it's a little difficult. She was like, no, we don't have any money. We don't have, like, what can I put together? So we put it together, and we were the little bakery that could, and we just kept doing it. And I had a great team. My head baker was with me the entire time, and she was like, what are we going to do today? What are we going to, what are we putting out there? And I had a team that would stay late and scrub the floor just so I wouldn't have to do it when I was done running the counter. And I was the shipping department, the marketing department. I had a former colleague who was like, wow, your social media manager is killing it. And I was like, thank you.
Me. That is me.
I am that. The floor and did the shipping, and then I also was doing our Instagram, and then doing our sales funnel, and then updating our website. I'm like, who do you think is doing this stuff? I have exactly 2 people working the pandemic, and 1 person at the Christmas markets.
Wow.
But I was just hella stubborn. I was like, this is not something that I can fail at. I mean, eventually I did close the bakery at the end of I forget what year it was, 2021 or beginning of 2022. But it took a while for me to make that decision. And I did pray about it. And I did say to grandma, like, listen, I gave it my best shot. It's not over yet because now I'm going to write a cookbook, and that will be the final chapter for grandmas. But I felt like she was like, listen, you don't have to kill yourself in my name. Like,
No,
Message.
that's real. Yo, you
it
say
makes sense, right?
yo, you say it's so cool, but it's like it's so inspiring at the same damn time. So I don't want to like you say it as like nonchalant, but like that's not something to gloss over. Like open up a cookie business from 2013. You're also C-suite at McCann, one of the biggest agencies in the world. You're back and forth. The pandemic hits. You could have closed it. You're making sure you stay up. You're doing 20 hours. That is a lot. And then you're talking about how do I pivot? I'm making cookbooks and like you are a driven person. Like that's not even the question. If y'all don't hear it, like I don't know what you're listening to. She's saying like it's inspiring, and I say that truly. Like it's really inspiring. Like so, and even some people could have looked at that like a failure. I don't call things failure. It's either a blessing or a lesson. It's a blessing or a lesson. So you learned your lesson from the cookie company. You move forward. What does the pivot look like at that point? What do you brush yourself off the shoulders? You like, I'm gonna get to it. What am I doing now?
So I'm still consulting while I'm baking, okay. And because again, got to pay my own bills, right? Got to pay the team.
Pay them bills.
I ended up going in-house with one of my clients. I was working as a fractional executive at that point. I was doing operations work. I was doing chief of staff work, and I was doing chief people officer or head of HR work, but kind of by accident. I had no trajectory towards HR, but I was always the business partner to HR. And then I was like, what if I flipped it and became the HR partner to the business? And that's where I ended up. So I ended up going in-house at one of my clients. I spent a couple years there. Still, you know, it wasn't going to be the place that I retired from. So I'm still thinking about what's next. Yep. And that's when I started to cultivate the idea for my most recent. I say most recent, and people are like, "Oh, 4 times," and I'm like, 4 times so far. I'm not so old that this is probably the end of the road for me. Who knows what's next? Oh, and you might ask, what's the 4? Right? We covered.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on. Yeah. I was doing it in my head. The cookie.
I skipped the first one. The first one was actually back in 1998, and the very small. Story there. It's a big story, but I'll tell it in a small space of time.
We got time today. I'm chilling. You go for it. I'm cool.
So back in 1998, shout out to my partner at the time, another Nicole Ignani, if she's listening to this at any point. We went to high school together. We combined our senior year thesis to create a live stage production. And in typical me fashion, in case you haven't learned anything from I don't know how long we've been together, I tend to have an idea, start a business, like one of those like how can we make it a thing and not just a project, and like, you know. So we were preparing to put this stage show on, and I said, you know what, we should produce this under our own production company. And she's a scholar and a professor and a teacher and, you know, just an intellectual part of a brain with, I mean, great artistic sense and all those things. But we are very complementary in nature, very different. And I'm like, we need a production company. And she's like, I just want to do the show. Like, I don't need a production company. I'm like, but we're going to produce this, so we should have a company. Like, okay. So she humored, okay, fine. What will we call it? So I'm a genius 18-year-old, right? And I'm going, we're 2 Nicoles and we're doing a production, Nick Productions. And she was like, whatever, fine. So we produced this show under Nick Productions. And then I'm going, well, we have this production company. And she's like, we did 1 show. I'm like, I don't care. It's a production company. So I said, are you going to do anything with it? And she's like, it was your idea, dummy, basically, is what I heard. And I said, well, basically, can I buy you out of the company, right? Can I? And she's like, whatever. So I took over my own idea, and Nick Productions turned from productions to consulting to facilitation to like it was the umbrella for everything that I was doing as a side hustle at the time. And then many years later, it became my kind of management consulting company, and then it turned to its premise was, we help founders, executives, and small business owners build their best brand, best business, best self. So we're doing everything from personal brand strategy, company brand strategy, health coaching, because I was already starting to seed this idea of how do we bring our whole selves with us up the ladder and not die climbing, right? So let's health coach so that we don't get there and we're making more money and we're living the dream, whatever, and we can't enjoy it because we're in the hospital or we're, did I learn from all that? Not 100%, but it's a journey. So Nick Productions back in 1998. We don't have to do the math on how long I've had that business now. And then the next one was the bakery. And then one in between that I didn't mention, I started a company called Schnoodle Sunday. Again, this is how my brain works. I told you in the preview to the show. So I was getting a giant Schnauzer mix, and they are very clever and very smart dogs. And I said to myself, what do I need to do to prepare to bring this puppy in and train her appropriately and, be a good pack leader? So I thought, I'm going to go get a training certification. And then I can't just go get a training certification. I got to think about the thing. So it became a practice for me and this puppy named Liesel, who's now a 5.5-year-old, not puppy, but still named Liesel. We would go out on Sundays and just have dog and mom time. And she's a giant Schnauzer poodle. So giant Schnoodle is the official title. And it was Sunday. So I started calling it, it's time for Schnoodle Sunday. And then someday I said, wait a second, Schnoodle Sunday. I can make a company out of that. We could
bring to it
based positive reinforcement dog training, and we could have this and we could have da. So I started this little business. I was doing in all my spare time, which we know I have plenty of now, based on these stories. I was doing one-to-one dog training, going to people's homes in an hour and train your puppy, and all games-based, all positive reinforcement, all relationship building stuff. And that's what Schnoodle Sunday grew up to be. And then somewhere along the line, I started adventuring. I've got a second dog named Ruthie, and we started adventuring. And I started getting annoyed at how many adventure, fully produced reels and videos I would see online. And I was like, these dog owners are showing these high production value, probably huge expense, outings with their dogs. And people are thinking, I have to do this with my dog for them to be fulfilled. And I was like, I hate this. I mean, I love watching them, but I hate the premise of it. So why do we have to go have an adventure? Why can't we bring adventure into our everyday and make every day about the relationship? And, so that, again, typical me, I was like, and what if it was a brand, or if it was a blog, or if there was merch? So in the near future, when I have 5 minutes extra time, I have a merchandise line that will come out for Schnoodle Sunday, a blog that I will unpause for the sub-brand, which is called the Everyday Adventure Girls. And this is a combination of my everyday adventures with my dogs, training tips, health tips, etc. All the things that I thought I was going to live when I was going to be a veterinarian now have been brought to life, or about to be brought to life, in my adult self as a dog lover and trainer.
Yeah. You embody the more than a time. I don't even know who I'm talking to.
I warned you. I have a lot of things to do in this life, and it's not an unlimited time frame. So I got to get moving.
I'm so happy. I'm inspired. Like real shit. We got a couple comments. Y'all, sorry, LinkedIn. Besides Mama Love, what does your support system look like? That's a great question, Peter.
That is a very good question. I am not blessed with a large family. I'm an only child of a single mom, and there's not a lot of support system beyond my mother, her younger brother, my uncle, who was the father figure in my life. But I am super blessed to have amazing chosen family and very close friends. That I'm one of those people who basically, if we pass a certain threshold of friendship, you ain't never getting rid of me. So as long as the trust is there, we can still laugh together. We are never going away from each other.
Message.
I'm the same way.
Shout
I'm
out
the
to
same way.
Justin, who's like one of my oldest friends. We have been friends since we were 8 years old. We have he's an attorney. We have a literal friendship contract that he gave me for my 30th birthday. It has all the things I can and cannot do as a part of this friendship, and we actually celebrate our friendship like a birthday. So like now our friendship is old enough to drive. Now it can drink. Now it can serve in the military. Now it can do this. Like...
I've never heard that. I swear, I never heard that. That's fire though. I ain't gonna lie. That's fire.
I'm blessed with friends from way long ago and newer friends, and I'm now blessed to work with some of my closest friends in this new venture. So my support system is incredibly diverse. I went to an international school, so I have many friends from all the way from kindergarten through high school. So I have many friends from around the world who are now, out in the wild, but we still keep in contact. My best friend Aya in Japan from my Cornell days. Liz and Gonzi, who was on there, one of my friends, went to the same high school, went to the same college. So they're my advisors now. They've been my clients. I've been their clients. I've served on their boards. It's just the network is a web of support and being seen and being celebrated and being able to have people that you're psychologically safe with, as well. And that knew all the weird things I was going to say on this podcast.
You got me in awe and shit. And I'm sitting there, I still got to ask questions. I'm like, hold up. We're going to went mad different directions, but for the time, we're kind of like, what? Damn, you good. But I do want to know, let's get into the new venture, right? The Living Constellation, right? What was the idea behind it? Like, because you have all these businesses. What was like, this one is like, I have to focus my time and energy on this specifically.
So this was born of a combination of, and I say I got a little mad, because I can't say I got a little angry, because then I'm an angry Black woman, but I can get a little mad. Then I'm just enough to make a change, right? So there was a little bit of madness and a little bit of confusion that gave to this idea. So I am now a woman of a certain age, and a lot of my friends are, of a certain age. And I'm looking around and I'm hearing these stories of I was just pushed out of my corporate job, or I'm on the verge of, or I see the writing on the wall, or I've been unemployed for I don't know how long now, way past the the normal trajectory in previous markets of when you could expect to be back on somebody's payroll and have benefits and things like that again. And I'm a certain age, and I'm being told by people who should be empowering me and should be advocating for me that I need to take 10 years of experience off my resume, or I need to pretend like I don't have 2 master's degrees, only talk about 1, don't talk about this. And I'm thinking, what is going on here? Like, why? I didn't
work that hard for that.
Why? Yeah, you worked this and you were told do all the things and you did all the things. And then you're like, oh, but don't talk about that because that's going to make somebody else feel X.
Message.
Ooh, okay. Let me put that on the shelf over here. But then I'm simultaneously talking to fellow founders, startups, people that I've worked with in the past, at all levels, good reputation, senior leaders, a lot of experience. And they're going, I just can't find the right talent anymore, or talent isn't loyal anymore, or they want X and I only have this to offer, or I can't afford the best people because I'm priced out of these senior executive packages where they want, full benefits and they want variable comp, and they, and they're not saying like they shouldn't get it. They're saying I can't afford it, right? And then they're also saying I can't afford to invest in certain things, or I don't know what I should invest in certain development things for the people that I'm bringing in. So I know they need coaching. I know they should have X, but I don't know how to bring it to them. And I'm going, hold on. Like I was mad here, but now I'm confused because you're looking for people, but I'm talking to people and you can't afford them and they can't afford to be unemployed. And like, what is going on here? And then I'm thinking about my own trajectory, and I'm asking my talented friends over here, well, why don't you just start something? Why don't you consult? Why don't you? And they're going, huh? I've been an employee for 20, 30, 40, that's not me. It's not me. I would have done it already if I were going to do it. I hear, I'm not you, Nicole. And I'm like, well, that's not the point. And I don't know how to price. I don't know how to sell myself. I wouldn't be good at that. And I'm going, okay, well, there's got to be some middle ground.
Middle ground, yeah. Got to be a middle ground.
And then the company side are going, well, I have to think about this differently, but I need these outcomes. I need these things to get done. So how do I think about it differently, but I still have these problems to solve? So I'm going, okay, what is the middle here? And what is the trajectory that I want for myself? Because now I'm in this demographic. But I've started companies and I am the person who just takes a risk on themselves. And I've had a different experience. So how can I bring that experience to bear and start to make some connections that solve these two cohorts' problems? And then it occurs to me, and I don't always think in taglines, but sometimes I do. It occurs to me that all the people I'm talking to have a certain bright alone, right? They have a certain expertise to give. They have a depths of knowledge. They have depths of experience. They're bright alone. If I put them together, maybe they could be brilliant together.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, bright alone, brilliant together. Put that on the side. Then I'm thinking, all these people that I'm talking to want to talk about the future of work. Everybody wants to talk about the future of work. Everybody has to write about it. LinkedIn is full of it. Everybody has an article, a white paper, blah, 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 blah. I'm not saying that any of them are wrong. From my perspective, the future of work is not, let's put more AI in our lives. Let's, technology, innovation, person on Mars. We're still humans living with humanity, living with each other, right? And at some point, many, many years ago, we determined that we needed to build our lives around the thing that funds our lives, and our life became our job. And we were successful if we were able to stay in the same job and build, incrementally year over year, put just enough away in savings. I'm not talking about investment. I'm not talking about generational.
Just have enough of vacation and be able to buy what you want, and
to take our one big vacation and our one small trip, and to put a down payment on a house by the time we were X age, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at some point, we signed an agreement with the universe that said, my life is going to be my job, and I'm going to save just enough money and energy at the end of it to have a couple years of retirement before this mortal plane, right?
Yeah,
but that was success, right? I had a paid off house. I paid for my kids' wedding. I gave them a little money towards their down payment, and I lived a good life, and I smiled, and I went to my grave. Nothing wrong with that. However, is there something else? Is there some other way, right?
Message.
Gotta be.
Then I'm thinking about, why do we work? Now, you can say, I work for purpose. I'm sorry, but I'm going to call all the bullshit. And I've said it all.
We work for that move.
And I love to work. I enjoy my work. Even when it's stressful, I enjoy it. But at the end of the day, if I were financially independent, I wouldn't do this work. I would still have this company, but I would be paying other very smart people very well to bring my vision to the world. I would be in the cabin in the middle of 1,000 acres, only talking to the 15 people that I love in the world, and the rest of you would just be hearing rumors of my existence. Which could still be my future.
I like it.
Right? So I'm working to fund my life. And I would prefer to fund it before I'm too old to enjoy it. I'm not looking to fund my 97-year-old life, which is in the current market and current economy, when I might be able to retire if I keep on the trajectory, right? Forget 65. Who knows? I'll have 5 seconds of retirement before it's all over. So I'm working to fund my life. So why not think about that funding differently? And why not think about what I want my life to be differently? So for me, the future of work is life.
That's right.
And what I'm building, I want somebody to look back at me. I hope it's me. I hope I'm here by the time this trajectory is met. But I want not only to sit in that vision board workshop and go, okay, this is my next year, this is my next 10 years, whatever, and have that be aspirational. I want to have built a system where, especially people who look like me or look like us, who haven't been thinking about generational wealth and, having more than enough for enough of their lives. But I want everyone who's kind of subscribes to this future of work is life model and system to be able to fund the things that are on that board and more. And that's what I have in mind for the Living Constellation.
Well, I gotta ask you some real stuff. We're gonna dive deeper into that because that's a great concept.
I didn't tell you what it was. I just told you the thing that
I love the concept of it because it's like you're going for it, right? Boom. But you've also been successful in many different areas. So you really don't have to, but it's like you're doing this. It's like at this point in your stage in life, what are you valuing? Success, the happiness, and how are you even judging success at this point? Because you are successful.
I don't think about success as a word or as a concept, to be honest, except I use it in my work as I reference a lot success partnership. Because at this point in my life, when I'm going into a company or I'm working with a client, I see myself as the success partner to that leader, to that leadership team, to that company. But they have to define what success means so that we can have an outcome, right? But it's less from like, I'm your growth partner. Whatever you envision as success, I'm your partner to help get you there. So I think of success in that way, but I don't really dwell on success in my own life. I'm much more focused on legacy. I'm much more focused now on like when somebody looks back, because it won't be my kids because they don't exist. Right? So it will have to be people who are not related to me, so therefore are not forced to, in some family ritual, to look back on me. But I hope that they will look back and say, hey, I know that's that lady who built that thing that had this outcome in the world.
That helped me do this.
She helped to fund this many millions of vision boards. She helped to make the future of work life. She helped a generation of women of a certain age stop saving 5 cents on the dollar to one day retire for 5 seconds before they die and switch to funding the life that they want to live now. And not by skipping anything, not by using the expertise that they already have, the experience that they already have in a way that companies already need. But they haven't been connected in a way that can make both of them successful.
Message.
So I'll give you the 30 seconds on what we're building.
Yes, so please. I gotta know.
It's a 3-prong model. So we are offering fractional executive leaders, that work with solutions architects, we call them, and that's our consulting deep expertise cohort. So my premise here is that when I go into an organization as a chief people officer, I have the expertise and the strategic wherewithal of that function, but I am not necessarily a deep expert in every area that the people department has to deliver, right? I personally can't be a comp expert, a benefits expert, a performance management expert, a change lead, like all these things. And if I tell you that I am, I'm lying to you, right? I can only know so much. So I bring in a solutions architect who is my internal consultant with the deep expertise so that I can expand exponentially my impact and my solution that I'm offering, because they're the solutions architect, right? And so we work as that kind of team structure. But then the missing component for me has also been, and that's why I mentioned it earlier, professional development. So we have innovation architects that we also work with. Why innovation architects? You just said you're not invested in AI or sending a person to Mars. Innovation for me is about how do we make this thing work to the best of its ability so that we can innovate for our clients and we can help our clients innovate for their clients and so on down the line. So our innovation architects are our professional development gurus, our leadership coaches, our mindset coaches, our wellness coaches, and back to the best self, right? We want to make sure that you are successful and able to enjoy and fully appreciate your success because you are well, you are whole, you are joyful. We use joyful a lot. And I've been challenged. Nobody uses joy in a professional context. I said, why not? Why not? Happiness is fleeting. Engaged has a lot of other stuff. If we bring a joyful workforce together, I can guarantee you, and I will have the data to back this up, I will have the receipts. The joyful workforce is the most effective, efficient, loyal, engaged, all the things you're looking for. And they're joyful because they are funding their life. And so they're happy to go in and bring you their expertise. And they might be bringing their expertise from a boat in the middle of the Mediterranean. I don't care. As long as their Wi-Fi is strong and they're getting it done, I don't care where they are. They're where they are working how, when, and where they are the most joyful. And therefore, they are bringing you the best results.
That is so real. But damn, how do you scale that, though? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I agree with you 110%. The most productive I've been is when I was the most happy, is when I could be this.
Like you said, you're on your couch in Brooklyn, you're doing the thing, and
that's it. That's how it happened in LinkedIn, right? Like I was sitting there trying to be everybody else. I had the Kanye's, I had the button-up shirt. That shit wasn't working. When I sat on the couch, put a hat on, put a hoodie, I'm just comfortable, and I'm talking about marketing and business, being myself. Now it's hitting. I was like, hey, I was a waiter smelling like ribs, and I came in and got into sales, and they were like, oh my God, that's my story too, Jared. And now you're building a community. But I had to show up myself and stop thinking about what everybody else. But there's a balance, and there's a cost to that too. There's a cost. So how do we balance all of those things, right? So like for professional development, you talking about ageism is a real thing. If you're past a certain age, especially in this industry, why would I pay somebody that's 50 plus or whatever the case may be? I know my mentors in them. Like you're 50 plus, you did all these things, you built all these major Fortune 500 brands, but why would I pay you X amount when I could pay this person who don't know no better, and I'll give them a runway to make a couple of mistakes? How do you it's hard to do that. Like how do you
well, you're paying for experience and you're paying for it fractionally. So I say we're affordable but not cheap, and we bring strategic leadership that is attainable. Right? So you can have me 2 days a week as your chief people officer. You're paying for part-time, fractional, but you're receiving full-time impact. Right? That's the company aspect, right? And you just mentioned build a community. So all this lives in community. So we are building a talent collective for fractional leaders and solutions architects. Now they can be one and the same. You can work as a fractional and you can work as a solutions architect if you have the right balance of expertise, right? We are also embedding the innovation architecture. So in the community, that's where our courses live. That's where our coaching lives. That's where all those things live. And we will also bring that to clients. But you can be rest assured that when you hire with us, that professional development is baked in. So we are making sure that our people are staying at the cutting edge. It's a full-time job when you're an independent contractor to keep up your expertise, things are changing and moving too quickly. Yeah. And how can you afford the time, the energy, or the money to invest? You got to be at every conference, take every webinar, do every course, and then you're like, when do I have time to do my work? So we are baking that in to the community that we are building.
That's fine. How long have you started this venture? Like, how long have you guys been operating?
We launched this year.
Launch this year. Well, hold on. Come on. Launch this year. What we? Woo! It's only been 90 days in 2026. What have you done in like what? Everything's been.
What have we done? What have we done? We had revenue before we had a website.
Woo!
And this is not me being, oh, look at me. This is me doing what I said you need to do at the beginning of this, right? Nobody's gonna tell anybody what you did unless you start. So we have a team of founders that started working just based on me going, what if we did X? And they said, you know what? Sign me up for this. So I have my founding stars that started working literally 30 days ago. Wow. We have our first training proposals out into the wild. We have our first clients on board. We will be opening our membership community in approximately 6 weeks. We will be doing a preview call for our talent collective at approximately the same time. And then we're just rolling. I'm treating this venture like I treat my own identity. I identify as Nicole. I just happen to be, a mix of a lot of different ethnicities. I just happen to, be certain things, but I identify as Nicole. And Nicole is not for everyone. And I'm okay with that, right? Not everybody drinks coffee. Not everybody drinks tea. Not everybody likes whatever. Nicole is not for everyone. And that's okay. TLC, the Living Constellation, is not for everyone. But for the people it is for, there will naturally be a set of aligned values. I'm not looking for culture fit. I'm not looking for anybody to change who they are or how they work. I'm looking to figure out how people want to work and who they want to be the most fulfilled and joyful. And I'm trying to connect like-valued companies with like-valued individuals. And I know that can be done because I've done it for myself.
Did it for us.
Done it for myself, right? Now we just got to multiply it.
Now we got to scale it.
And there's no ageism here because it was built for women of a certain age, but we inviting everybody because that's how we do.
That's how we do. That's how we do. First of all, what was the hardest part of launching this business? How many iterations did it take to get to where you are now?
Oh man, my biggest enemy was my own perfection.
Yeah,
I have to have this. I have to have that. That's why I said we had clients before we had a website. Because I was like, I have to do this and it has to represent the brand. And I spent all these years in advertising. I can't put up some crap website and be like, oh, well, it just is what it is. I mean, if you look at our website and say, well, it's kind of crap. I built it myself in evenings, okay? It's a first iteration. Give me a break.
Yeah, it's good. It's up and running.
I don't need a website and 5,000 people following me on LinkedIn. I need a client. I need somebody to walk into somebody and go, hey, if I did this, would you pay a monthly retainer? And luckily, more than one person said, yeah, let's do that. And then I was like, shoot, maybe we should have a website. So I did that. And then I was like, we're going to have a platform for our community. So I'm working on that. It's like,
I'm going to hook you up with
you have progress before perfection, right? And I can say it, but doing it is the hard part. Looking at the website and going, I could spend $5,000 and I could make this animate and move and this and that and thing come up and that, or I could just roll that time and energy and money over into building the business and actually getting the people that I'm trying to support into the companies that I'm trying to support, and then the website will come.
That's real. And you do it. Times before she had the website, you hear it. I'm inspired. I'm inspired like a mug. Like how can I help you? I've had massively how can anybody listening who's like, hey, I love what Nicole's story is. How can they help you? How can they reach out? How can they support?
We are looking for clients. We are looking for talent, and we are looking for partners. You can go to our website, thelivingconstellation.com.
It was 3 things that you did. It. Ding, ding. I'm like, what the hell?
That's my reminder to go lay on my wellness mat and meditate before bed.
Dude, that was crazy.
But it said, before you meditate, get some clients. So you ask me the questions, I'm going to answer you. I need 3 things. I need clients, I need talent, and I need partners. Now, what does that look like? I'm not going to spend the episode going into our ideal client persona, yada, yada, yada. Mostly because I'm using proper founder behavior. I've never done this in any of my businesses before. I've always been like, I'm going to catch it all and then I'm going to figure it out. I can't catch it all anymore. I'm going to say something that we all have to learn. I have people for that.
Message!
I worked hard to have the right people. So I have people for that. You want to talk about partnerships? You want to be a client? Noelle Weaver is her name. If you worked at Contagious or you were around Cannes Lion, yes, that Noelle Weaver. She is my head of commercial strategy and partnerships. I've known her for 15 years. I officiated her wedding. We go back like that.
Fire.
That's how I build the team. She is like valued. She is brilliant. Contact Noelle Weaver. I think it's partnerships@thelivingconstellation.com. But all you do is go to our website. If you can't find a form to fill out, scroll to the bottom, click that email address, and we will make it be so. But if you love what we're doing, I'm sure we can figure out how to work together. But I have to have the money to fund the thing, to do the thing, right? So clients, I got a bunch of talent lined up, and partnerships. And let's be real, I'm not looking for partnerships where we like hug each other and that's the payment. You get paid, we get paid. We're talking about revenue, mutually beneficial, financially viable partnerships. I'm not running a not-for-profit. I'm not running a hobby. I'm not running a side gig. I'm running a business which is going to develop the future of work and create the alternate senior workforce.
I love
so that makes money. We should all be in it to make money because money opens doors. Anybody who tells me, oh, money can't buy you happiness, there isn't one problem I have that can't be solved by more money. Not one. Including giving it away, right? I don't need too much, but none of us need just enough anymore. That mindset, kill it.
We need more.
Because the more you have, the more impact you can have. The more benefit, the more you can share, the more you can give away, the more influence in a positive manner you can have. So no more of this crap. Oh, just enough that it. No, stop it. Especially to our community. Stop it. Stop it right now. I didn't mean to get on that soapbox, but dang it.
No, it needed to be said. It needed to be. Sometimes we got to hear that shit. Then you're absolutely right. You need the money to make more impact. I'm not betting against you. That's the real. I ain't betting against you. You shitting me? You kidding me? I'm gonna put the link on the description, y'all. If you want to support, I will have our LinkedIn. I will have the Living Constellation website on the description of this episode. And I just want to tell you, for somebody who's seen you from afar, who's seen you in person, who's seen you work, and somebody who's followed you from afar, and I just want to tell you, this episode was everything I thought it would be. Like real talk. And I really appreciate you taking time. I appreciate what you do. You remind me of me. You give yourself so much for others. And I just hope in the meantime, as you're doing this thing, one thing I would say is just be in the present and enjoy it. Because that's something I'm working on.
I'm joyful. Somebody said to me the other day, you are a bundle of joy. And I thought, I wasn't this joyful. I mean, I have loved many things that I have done, right? But I feel like this is the culmination of what I have been working towards that I didn't know yet. And now that I see it, it's clear, right? And I'm not saying this is my last thing, but this is definitely part of the legacy that I'm looking to leave. So
I love it. Yeah. What I gotta ask you, because I usually ask everybody, but I gotta ask you, what is the mountaintop? There's no mountaintop. We just keep working. But when is a moment for you that you can look back and say, look, I fulfilled the legacy. I did everything. I can chill now. I'm going to the cabin. What does that look like for you? Like real talk, I gotta ask you. When can you go to the cabin? You working?
The mountaintop, I think, is when I want 100 people in the talent collective who are working, who have full slates in whatever that means for them. If you only want to work half-time, you're full. You want to work full-time, you're full. Whatever you signed up to do through us, you are full. I want to have partnerships where we are feeding into other organizations that are just starting out, that are like valued, where they are going, I don't know where to invest next because I am making so much revenue from this partnership that I got to think about new ways to spend this money. And that might sound crazy, but do you know that there are people out there who have too much money? I'm not one of them. But I will never be, because I have a full list of ways to spend that money in a way that you know, I not to harp on that I don't have kids, but like I'm not funding somebody's college. I'm not funding a down payment on somebody's house that's not my own, right? So I think about funding legacy. I think about where my dollars go and how much I will have to leave to a university, to a program, to a scholarship fund, to something where somebody goes, like when I got scholarships and I was like, this family made these things possible. I'm the family.
Now you're the family. That is woo!
Message.
You guys heard the story, huh? You've heard the story. I'm so inspired. You know, humble beginnings. It's her mama love. They had, you know, it was things they've overcome. Mama always told her, like, look, I don't understand. You're gonna deal with things differently than I dealt with, right? Taking that message, saying and sticking on something. He said, 9 years old, I'm gonna go to Cornell. There was no other option. Stand on business. She said, I'm doing it, and nothing was gonna let stop her. And that's the whole message I want to give to everybody. Like, that's the message I got from it. She's a Black woman, a queen, Women's History Month that didn't let anything stop her, regardless what it was, whether it was the bakery, whether it was the consulting, whether it's the biggest agency in the world. It wasn't anything that stopped her. She dealt with the pressure.
I slowed down, and don't be afraid to slow down, and don't be afraid to change course.
That's a great point.
But thank you for saying that, Jared, because I did slow down, and I did sometimes change course on purpose and sometimes got off course. But as long as you don't stop, you're still headed somewhere.
Message.
She ain't stopping. I ain't stopping. We ain't stopping. We back. We'll be back Tuesday. I might be back tomorrow because I feel like I ain't working hard enough now. I'll come back tomorrow on a Friday on your asses. But I say that to say
Mama said make new mistakes. Don't become a workaholic. Make new mistakes.
We're trying to work smarter, not harder, and I'm inspired. I know I've got a lot of comments on Instagram, LinkedIn, all the above. Like, thank you everybody for tuning in. It's late night. Everybody's working. Everybody had a long day, and you're here listening to the story. And I hope that you're inspired like I am. And, you know, I just want to see this woman win. I want to see this queen win. And I know she's going to win. And any way I can help you win, I'm here. And you are officially a part of the More Than Title family. Nicole, you're a part of the family. I got to give you a horn for that. Hold on. Because I don't know, you know, I got to give you a horn. 278 episodes. We've had some incredible guests. Anybody I've spoken to before you, anybody I speak to after, you have direct access to. All you have to do is send me a text. Jay, I saw you talking to this one. It could really help my business. It could really help TLC. Done within 48 hours. Nothing to do. And that's my stipulation for you coming on the show. Anybody. This is not a monetary exchange for those listening, right? I did not pay Nicole. Nicole is paying me with her time. She's, you know, coming to the IP to help build my IP up. And that's not lightly.
You're paying me by letting me talk about my venture. This is the first time. I haven't done a podcast in 10 years. I used to do them quite frequently, but I haven't done a podcast in 10 years. And I had to be strategic and thoughtful about where I talk about this first. And Jared's been asking me, when do you want to do this? And I said, can you hold on just a minute? Because I might have something to talk about. And he held on just a minute and invited me in this particular month, Women's History Month, and my birth month. So thank you for having me. Thank you for honoring me. And thank you for giving me the space to introduce the Living Constellation.
I'm honored that you select us. And I knew we would connect. And more so, I just want the relationship. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just glad that we're building this. We're going to take it one, you know, day by day, brick by brick. I can't wait to see what we both build. I can't wait to see anything we do together. And y'all listening, make sure you support this queen. Make sure you go to the Living Constellation. If you're a talent or you're a brand, a partner, anybody that wants to help this thing go through, it's going to the moon. It's going to the moon. Be on the ground level. Be a Tesla at $2. Right. You don't want to miss out when it's 100.
That's right.
You know the vibe. We Tesla at $2 right now. We might give you $3, might give you a little something. She's going to the moon. I'm going to the moon. I'm so grateful that she gave us a story. And you know what it is? It's More Than Title. Another successful Black queen, another successful woman on this platform for Women's History Month. And we only had 278. This is a classic, y'all.